Aloha. This is Healing with Honeyman here, giving a demonstration of my comprehensive care package that combines both energy and body work. And in the cases of my remote clients, I'm doing quantum healing using Biofield tuning from the beloved Eileen McCusick. Thank you for your work and your contributions. We're going to be going over in further detail, just like spot checks here and there, this graph regarding the different energetic imbalances that you can find in your aura, which is the magno-electric energy field of the human body, and studying works of Michael Tellinger, of Nikola Tesla, other different healers, scientists, explorers, people like Royal Rife with the Rife frequencies. I'm seeking to demonstrate for you today how we can utilize the power of sound, which is considered to be architecture in motion by one of the greatest, most renowned 20th century architects of our time. I forget their name, but I'm combining things. I'm seeking to teach people that their body is an electrical circuit, okay, a magneto-electrical circuit, because we have this concept that we're living in an electrical universe. However, it is through the power of magnetism that electricity and electrical current is produced. And this is from, half of my life, more than half my life, 20 years of experience, of exploration, self-education, academic education, professional experience. I'm going to be utilizing resources such as the Great Encyclopedia of Healing Stones, Fragrances and Herbs, to help explain how crystal gridwork can actually be helpful and healing to the body because of the use of crystals within electronics, within electrical circuits today, and seeing the body as a bioelectric system, how to combine the work of crystals and the amplification that they bring to the power of induction and electrical current. I also, by way of energy work, practice the tradition of Diane Stein with Essential Reiki. Thank you very much for your contribution to that modality. So this is one part body work, second part energy work, and it's a comprehensive system, also combined with divination such as astrology-based tarot and oracle, in order to help bring clarity to the mind and to the trajectory of people's lives if they're seeking knowledge, wisdom, advice, direction, guidance through divination and channeling spirits, ancestors, deities, the Most High. This is my life's work and my contribution to the world. So I thought that I would give you a demonstration by offering a remote session today to my dear friend Brooke Andrews of Align, Live, Love in Washington State. Going to be sending her some loving, universal, unconditional life force energy and doing remote quantum healing, because remote healing has been proven to work. We have quantum entanglement, we have bilocation, we have distance physics. Science itself has been able to prove that splitting an atom and taking it to opposite ends of the earth and then manipulating one directly affects another. So what I'm seeking to explain to you is that remote healing works, distance healing works. It's been proven by science. We see, feel, experience effects, if not immediately, over time. And in my own personal experience working with my beloved Reiki master, Esther Sabatino, through Healer in the Woods, if you want to check that out, it's healerinthewoods.com. The remote work that I've received from her is oftentimes more powerful than the in-person work. Why that is, I believe what's taking place, what's occurring is when we're working on the body in real time, we're working with what's present and utilizing certain symbols of Reiki, such as Han Shaze Shonin, which is a distance healing symbol that is activated every time we do distance healing. We're able to traverse both time and space to be able to work with a wound or an ailment or a dis-ease from the point of inception, the time at which it initially occurred. So whether it was 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 years, 2 decades ago, we're able to meet ourselves, meet our patients, the people that participate in their own healing with us. We're able to meet them where they're at in that moment and to help resolve and to close that timeline as we move forward and to see, feel, experience the ripple effect of that healing from the past into the present. So we're going to begin by dropping in. I always like to call forth ancestors, guides, guardians, gods, goddesses, and the ancient ones that reside underneath the one within all, the Most High, the one true living God. And I ask that they step forth only with the intention of the highest and greatest good of all for those present, including Brooke and myself, so that I may receive clear and concise, constructive wisdom and messaging as a conduit through which to aid Brooke in her healing. At this time, I'm going to meditate with what crystals are needed to take place. No malachite. Lapis lazuli, yes. Selenite, no. Carnelian, no. Lemurian quartz. Okay, guides, are we strictly working with lapis lazuli? No. Citrine, yes. What other stones? Amethyst, no. Bloodstone, no. Okay, the message is clear. At this time, we will be working with Brooke, utilizing the healing and metaphysical properties of the crystals, lapis lazuli and citrine, for insight, wisdom, clarity, communication, represented by the color blue in the lapis, seeking to acquire the little flecks of gold represented by the pyrite, grabbing the golden nuggets of wisdom and intuition, increasing Brooke's capabilities to intuit her journey, her path, assisted by the properties of citrine, represented by the color yellow, activating the solar plexus chakra, this will strengthen her willpower. This will increase her prosperity, her abundance, the capacity to take action upon her intuition, the messages that she receives from this point forward. Solar energy, expansion, illumination, faceted. Guides, am I to use the towers? No, I'm to use the lapis spheres. Okay. For those that don't know, I would like at this time, after channeling the messages, to show you what I'll be working with. Such lovely stones that I've acquired through some work trade. Ooh, and rose quartz too. Not necessary, but acceptable as an additional. Okay, so here we have a beautiful citrine that's received some wear over the ages, but something that I want to highlight here, of which I've learned through the Great Encyclopedia of Healing Stones, is the directionality of the energy that these stones transmit. Spheres both receive and send energy in all directions, as they have no facets, no angles, no sides. So this will be very powerful for gathering in information from all angles. The power of points, of sides, is that it focuses the energy. This is Cesar technology for those who are familiar. It's lasers, right? So if we think about this point and the energy focused from all these sides, it's certainly more direct with towers, but we can still do this utilizing the different sides. Whenever we're placing the crystals upon the body, or in this case remotely, the surface that the crystals are applied from, the energy will expand, will direct from all those angles, okay? So less spherical, more flat, but covering more surface area. So we're going to apply this at the time. I've got this lovely yoga mat to demonstrate visualizing the body, okay, as I send myself across space and time to help our friend Brooke. So thinking about the solar plexus, if I'm to imagine this being her hip area, I'm going to want to place this above the navel, somewhere here, okay? And then regarding the sphere being at the throat chakra, or even the third eye, It's lovely that this stone itself has somewhat of an iris. We can place it here to represent the throat chakra. And then, in addition to using Eileen McCusick's proprietary tuning forks, the sonic slider, which is the 12th harmonic of the Schumann resonance, the heartbeat of the earth, which is on average considered to be 7.83 hertz. We're going to be utilizing the sonic slider, which is that frequency times 12, which equals 93.96 hertz. And I'll be sure to leave a description of the benefits in case you wish to utilize these amazing tools yourself. It does amazing work, not only energetically, but also physically. People have been known to lose weight, have received toning in their, skeletal, muscular structure, stress relief, pain relief, muscle relaxation, or reducing tension. And utilizing Reiki, I'm also going to be calling upon the Reiki symbols in which to work with the energy of Brooke. So this is a demonstration of what the sound is like. In addition to utilizing this frequency, I am going to double the impact, which is so beautiful to hear together. Not that you will be able to through the microphone, but this helps to create balance on both masculine and feminine sides represented by the left and right of the body, bringing hemisync, synchronization of the hemispheres of the brain, the mind, helping to reduce the vagus nerve throughout the nervous system, the largest nerve in our body, reducing stress. Okay. And also focusing, utilizing the Reiki positions. Okay. So we're going to begin, and I will be sharing messages given Brooke's permission of the messages that I received from her guides at the time. Okay. Starting at the head. It may be beneficial actually to utilize through the use of quantum entanglement. I am sending the intention to Brooke that her mind be synchronized with peace, with clarity, in receiving messages through her intuition. In both my mind and in my mouth, I now call forth Choku Rei, the first Reiki symbol. In addition, I call forth Seihei Ki for emotional well-being and balance. And finally, Han Shaze Shonin for distance healing across space and time. At the point, utilizing unconditional universal life force energy, also known as Reiki, the assistance to whatever ailment is asking for the most attention at this time within Brooke's being. Moving on to the second position. I see a fog. Feels like brain fog, like a haze. Indecision is the word that comes to mind. Life trajectory, legacy. Moving on to the third position. Usually over the eyes. for clarity, for one's vision, direction, building a map. Building the map before following it. Something about someone named Jason. We're now moving on to the fourth position, which is on either side of the throat. Fear of speaking up. A proclamation of one's desire to explore. In order to make the map, one must first get lost and to trace their steps back to where they began. Feeling silenced, not permitted to speak, to share. Being thrown into positions of receiving, taking in opinion rather than sharing one's individuated experience. I'm now going to apply the base of the tuning fork onto the crystal, representing the throat chakra. If you were to do this, you could feel the pulsing between the forks and the crystal, emanating current, conductivity, transmission of frequency. There's a rhythm to it, very slow and soothing. Mo, 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 mo. Oh. It's almost like a pendulum swinging. It's what it feels like. Spending a little extra time here as is needed, as is requested. That is so wild. I've never experienced that before. This pulsing between the two. Frustration with not being witnessed, not being able to share, to participate with one's voice. Frustration. Having wisdom that cannot be received by others. I call forth Seihei Ki. Moving on to the fifth position. Heart space, heart chakra, lungs. Being asked to hang out here for a while. We need an open heart and lungs full of air to be able to communicate for the highest and greatest good, the wisdoms that reside within us. Chokurei. Bringing balance, energy, activating the universal life force energy. You'll hear frequently throughout this session my breathing, my body shaking, expelling the energy as I'm clearing it for Brooke along each position. I'm now being asked to move onward and to the sixth position. This would now be the solar plexus. Here I'm being asked to use Hanshaze Shonin. This is connected to Brooke's voice. The ability to communicate one's wisdom also stems from willpower, the desire, the will to share. There's a wound here of not feeling as though one's wisdom is worthy of being shared. Where there is a will, there is a way. And if there is no will, then the way becomes unclear. We see her as a little girl, being excited to share something she learned, something that sparked her imagination, her heart to expand. Desiring to bring others into that excitement and being met with disinterest. Or seeing it as just child's play, not being taken seriously. Thinking about the position and noticing the citrine. This would be at her navel. There's something very powerful about the navel, the belly button. When we are attached to our mothers during pregnancy, we receive our nutrition, we receive our blood, we receive all the necessary elements required for growth to be born. This is a very powerful energetic center, which it's no surprise as to it being, I would say, approximately the center of the body from head to toe. So what this communicates to me is I'm certain you can hear that. This will emanate the frequency of citrine, of abundance, of prosperity, of willpower, of solar energy throughout the entirety of Brooke's being. Emanating from the navel, the energetic center. Moving on to the sacral chakra, the second. That is a demonstration of what you don't want to do. Whenever the tines collide like that, it's not pleasant to the ears, it's not good for the tuning fork. It's very important to strike it midway down the time. It's not the end of the world, it's not the worst thing to occur, it's certainly not preferred. Just doing a quick little tune-up here in the sacral area, represented by the color orange. Mantra, I have. This is just a fine adjustment here, whereas with the throat and the solar plexus, there was much deeper work needed. Being called to incite, to invoke Seihei Ki just for balance, regarding masculine and feminine energies present within Brooke, guarding her sacral energy. These methods, these modalities, these practices can also be applied to oneself. At some point in the near future, I may host an online webinar, workshop, to be able to educate others. Here we are moving on to the root chakra, the first chakra, I am, representing safety, security, power. The color red. Calling forth the energy of Choku Rei. Encouragement, empowerment, fortitude. Bringing energy, enlivening this chakra to be the foundation through which the energy can move upward. Moving onward to the knees. Hanshaze Shonin. With the practice and the education of my Reiki master, I was taught that the knees hold the vision. The knees are joints which help us to balance across the terrain of our life. Sometimes, after you're particularly Reiki 2 attuned, you can witness, you can visualize, you can see the eyes of the knees through which the vision is portrayed. When tuning in to the vision here for our friend Brooke, I sense the eyes are not quite fully open, awake, engaged. Squinting, hard to see, tired, sleepy, needing rest, so that when they awaken, the vision becomes clearer. It's easier to see during the day than in the dark at night. So once again, solar energy, coming back to the willpower of the solar plexus. Moving on to the ankles, also representing stability, taking a stand, standing for something, defending one's position. What does one stand for? Healing, self-empowerment, self-motivation. Oftentimes we seek direction from others to be permitted to do what we desire, or sometimes completely forego personal power, submitting it to someone else in exchange for acceptance, belonging, love. I'll give you this in exchange for your time, your attention, your energy, strengthening the ankles, learning to stand on our own. I'm hearing Seihei Ki. Emotional balance, confidence, invoking the frequency of confidence to stand in one's personal power so that Brooke may communicate with empowered words, wise words, sharing her vision to those who are open to receive. This is very interesting energetically as I am recalling some time that I spent with Brooke on a hike and her speaking to having concern about rolling her ankles. And what this brings up for me is an opportunity to share that what takes place energetically is also expressed through the physical. Weak ankles, weak stance, having to be nimble, having to adapt, to adjust, rather than being rooted in one's beliefs. Being met with obstacles, with challenges, things knocking into us, tipping us over. Okay. Finally, moving on to the soles of the feet, the soul star chakra, which is over there, but here we have the black star, the earth star chakra, grounding, represented by the color black, channeling divine message, energy, intuition, wisdom, taking all the energy accrued over time from our environment through energetic transference, channeling it outward through the feet. So this is where we will end our session with Brooke, taking the energy that's left over, that has been brought to the surface, and moving through the soles of the feet into our Mother Earth, so that she, like love, can make new things out of nothing that it needs. Thank you, Black Angels. Choku-rei. Sometimes I draw them physically. Other times I draw them on my tongue, on the roof of my mouth. Other times I draw them in my mind's eye, mirroring or doubling the image. Just whatever's needed, whatever's asked. Roots, a desire to root, to ground, to have structure. This is a message that I'm receiving at this point, at this chakra. I'm hearing black tourmaline for dispelling negative energy into the earth, into ground, for stability. Black tourmaline. The shards representing the fragments. Has a very shard type structure. Would be very beneficial for Brooke at this time to work with black tourmaline. I'm also hearing opal. At this time, I close our container, going through each of the Reiki symbols again, beginning with Choku Rei. Seiheki. Hanshaze Shonin. Thank you, guides, guardians, gods, goddesses, ancestors, and ancient ones residing underneath the Most High, the one within all, the one true living God. Thank you for coming forth at this time to assist me in channeling the unconditional universal life force energy for our dear friend Brooke, to assist her in her journey of self-healing, of returning to Source. And so it is. Okay. Wow. All right, if you're still here with me, thank you for witnessing. Thank you for your presence and your patience and the willingness to learn. We're going to, at this time, go through one of a few resources that I have regarding crystal healing properties, and we're going to show you. See here we have a demonstration of the different shapes. Piezoelectricity, electricity conducted from the vibrations of crystals. This graph is showing the difference between naturally grown and artificially grown crystals. But particularly, I want to focus on black tourmaline. Reading some of the wisdoms. It must just be in tourmaline then. Here we are. Considered by Egyptians and Greeks of ancient time to be the stone of self-confidence and staying power. It acts like an earth wire on all negative forces, rays, and black magic, and it can center more positive energy. For curative effects on the body, helps detoxify the brain and nerves. Alleviating muscular atrophy, painful inflammation of the bones and joints, muscle aches, cramps, trembling, epilepsy. Also assists with heart disorders, kidney disease, and adrenal glands, all connected to the detoxification process of the body. Penetrates especially the brow chakra, root chakra, via the secondary chakras of the arms and legs. A bringer of light which raises us, even after a short period of time, a higher level of consciousness. Produces very powerful inner concentration at a consciously spiritual level. Liberating and clarifying functions for many of our open-ended questions. As you can see, I'm paraphrasing somewhat here. Published by Methuselah. Just wanted to give credit to the author. They seem to be German. Verlags Gesellschaft. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. So that's helping to solidify, to anchor in the messages that I was receiving, confirmation with regards to empowerment, self-confidence, direction and clarity on open-ended questions, and with it being located specifically at the ankles, taking a stand, being grounded. Looking at our bioanatomy trigger point areas with the solar plexus, sadness, anger over lack of support from both mother and father, given either side, left side being feminine, right side being masculine. Throat chakra, things unspoken, not being heard. Very powerful. Artistic inspiration, channeling, solar plexus support from ourselves and others. This is an example of the energetic imbalance. Okay. And for those of you that are interested in seeing the symbols that I was working with, once you're Reiki attuned, particularly Reiki 2, you'll begin to work with symbols such as these. There are traditionally 5 now, I believe, at the inception of Reiki. It may have been 20, but it's been reduced down to 5, I believe. Or these are the 5 that have remained over time. This is Choku-rei. The bottom here is Seihei-ki. And here is Hansho-zei Shonan. Hansha. Hanshe-zei Shonin. Very intricate, as one can imagine from needing to travel across time and space. Okay, so now that we've completed the session, what we're going to do is we're going to call Brooke for a follow-up. I'm giving her permission to share the phone call, the experience. I'm going to refer with her and see what came up during her session, if she felt anything, received any kind of messages herself, whatever I intuited during the time of the session, as we were working remotely with her. I'm going to share those things and ask if she feels any resonance with those messages. And then we're going to close out with a divination reading to help Brooke along her journey. This message, this reading, this divination will be my self-made and Joseph Campbell inspired 17-step hero's journey spread. So I'm going to take the formula, the archetypal hero's journey as found, discovered by Joseph Campbell, and use that as a tool through which to help Brooke along her journey as her own personal hero. So here we go.